My birthday is in September. And when I started school, when I was 5, when I was going to be 5, see, in September, they sent me back home again. And the teacher gave me a note to give to my mother that the class was full and they was going to make the younger ones wait until next year. See?
Oh, really?
So what did I do on the way home was to stash the note in the culvert on the way home. So I just next morning I got up and went to school. The teacher wondered what I was doing, but I finally she got talking to my mother, and my mother found out and she asked me what I did with it, and I told her I put it in the culvert. So
you just kept going to school?
And so I didn't go to school after they kept me back.
What were the schools like?
Huh?
What were the schools like back then?
It was the old South Ward school in Ware-Set.
Well, what did it look like? Was it like just
Well, anyway, next year I started school, and I'd gone just a few weeks, and I counted up, I caught up with the kids that got left. So I didn't lose any. The cat put me on, and I didn't lose anything but being naughty of them.
You went to one in schoolhouse.
But it was, I think, let me see, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 blocks from our house to the schoolhouse. So, and that winter was just a terrible winter. It was just, the snow was just real deep all winter long. And I had clothes, had leggings on, with buttons up the sides of them.
But you were the one in schoolhouse, right, with big old stoves, wood stoves and all that they have?
Or was there more rooms than one? Just one? Was it just, your schoolhouse? Was it just
it was a North Ward, it was a South Ward schoolhouse. It's in the part of it's in the winter, they build onto it now, in Winterset. But, it was, all grades up to 12. And the upstairs, the second story of it was all in high school. From the 7th grade, or from, not 8, 9, 10. 6th grade was downstairs, and all the rest of it was upstairs.
Oh, they had the upstairs.
Yeah, it was a nice school. I think there was around probably 50 maybe not that many, 35 in each class. And I went to school in the 2nd grade. The 2nd grade of school was just right across the hall from the 1st grade room. And when I was going to do it, I found that there was a kid who was ornery, and they punished him that time. They took the principal would take him out in the hallway where the coach, and paddled him with a rubber tube. He had a kind of rubber tube, and it sounded like he was killing them. And there was one boy, he was always into trouble, and he got sent to the principal, and the principal came down and paddled him out in the hallway. Scared the heck out of the rest of us. And years later, after Ben and I was married, I was telling, we were talking about his school days, and I told about this Rhodes boy being paddled in the hallway, and he said, well, I was in that class. And we found out that when they moved back here from Illinois, they rented a farm, but they couldn't move on to it until after the 1st of the month, on January. And so he had gone to town school at that length of time, a month or two, before they went out to farm. And he was in my class.
Oh, your grandma?
Yeah, I was glad in the class. We got talking about the different things, and we talked, the school, the teacher's name was Miss Ross, and he remembered that, and he remembered us getting the cocoons, somebody bringing cocoons to class, and they put them up, and when the year was over, well, she gave them some of those cocoons that wasn't hatched yet to some of us, and I had one in my sweater pocket. One day when I was going someplace, Mom says, "We've got a little bit chilly day, you better get your sweater on." I got my sweater, and when I had down that pocket, there was that live something was in there, and it was a caterpillar. It was a caterpillar.
Where did you guys live? When you went to school?
I lived on Washington Street. The Washington Street is the next street out from Winterset.
Oh, yeah.
Down. You know where your grandma lived?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we just lived in the house just right back of hers. Across the alley, it's right back of hers. My dad built that house when I was about 12. But when I was little, we lived in the house on the corner.
So what did it look like inside?
Oh, just like in a house. We didn't have a bathroom. When I was little, we didn't have a bathroom, and we didn't have we burnt coal. Had a hard coal burner. And that's a beautiful stove with the isinglass on the sides of it, and it's got a thing in the middle at the top that you pour your coal in, and it just feeds down so that it keeps coal. As long as there's coal coming down, it's why, and it's just nice and warm, and the isinglass on the side on the little doors, all shown, and just turn the light out, and your room was almost lit with it.
So do you have an outhouse? You have an outhouse?
Animals?
An outhouse, backyard.
Yeah, we had an outhouse.
Was it a pain to get out there at
You
night?
freeze your fool self to death.
Yeah.
Thank goodness it wasn't only just little ways from the back, and we slept on the back porch. We slept on the back porch when it was in the summertime when it was hot.
It was a lot cooler out there.
And they had a screen porch out there, and Mom made canvas curtains that just rolled up and tied up at the top. And then when the storm came up, well, she'd go and loosen those and roll down and fasten it down. And we could stay out there. Jerry went out there in maybe May, 1st of May, and stay out until probably 1st of September. Last September, 1st of October. Anything else you want to know, honey?
Oh, what was the punishment like if you got in trouble at home? What would your mom do or your dad do? Or did they just hit you?
Well, Jerry got pretty stiff coughing too. That's something that wasn't allowed. But I had pretty good conversation with my mother. She and I, we talked a lot of things over. So it made it real nice. But I wasn't allowed to go uptown. See, it was just Washington Street is just the next street back from the one that goes up in town.
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't allowed to go uptown after dinner, after school, unless I had something to go for. I wasn't supposed to do that. And lots of times, I know there was a family that was, well, it just wasn't the best kind of family. And Mom heard some stories about these people, and I didn't walk home with those girls either. Mom didn't want me to be snooty, but she said there's some things that I had not to be contact with, so I won't have to have some sense. Well, anyway. I like my teachers. My teachers we had a good teacher until I went in 8th grade. In 7th grade, there was 12 boys and 3 girls in that class. And we shared the teacher with the 8th grade teacher at South Ford. It said that 8th grade, what here?
You were saying?
I'm going to sit over here by you so I understand hear what you're saying. My ears don't work too good anymore. My eyes and my ears don't work too good. I had this eye operated on last December. They took what they call a cataract out of it. And
I got a new question. Do you guys have a TV? Did you guys have a TV?
Oh no, we didn't have TV until I was married and lived on a farm down south of Winterset.
Do you have a radio?
Yeah, we had a radio that went. Yes, it did now. No kidding. You turn it on and if you turn it on a certain way, well, you get a station. You get a mad beat called blah 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 just that way. That's just about all you'd understand. but he turned it on and he go and Glenn wouldn't leave the darn thing alone. He just kept it turning, trying to get him a good station. Then he came down that show, and then I said I was sure glad when that thing. Then had a big speaker up on top of it, big horn business up on top of the ring, and it was called a Stuart Warner, and it had the batteries like in a car, and sitting on a shelf underneath. You had to be real careful then when they had little kids come because they get burned. But then. Always quite an experience. Well, when I was 12 years old, my folks built that house that's just right directly back of your grandma's house. There's a little bungalow in there, and they built that house when I was about 12 years old. And it was during wartime. The First World War was going on then. And they enrollment in the schools got more all the time, and so she went to school when our class got too big for the teacher to take care of us, she said that anybody that lived on the dividing line in Winterset that could go to North Ward if they wanted to. You didn't have to go to South Ward. If you want to go to North Ward, well, we could go over there. So I chose to go to North Ward.
What was was there any difference between the
the teacher at the North Ward was a wonderful teacher. She just, everybody that ever went to her just came out of that class when just wonderful. She knew how to write, and had arithmetic, and we had painting and drawing, and physiology and geography, spelling, and that you had all those things, and that one teacher was teaching it, and she was an excellent teacher, and just a few weeks ago, there was a man that came back from Texas that was a scholar in her class, and I went to a tea over to Sunday school. He says you're just making too much noise.
I agree. That was yours.
And he was remarking he's a writer now. He's written several books, and he thinks that teacher Lucy Gross was one of the things that helped him do a good writing job.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And you had that same teacher?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, she was a lovely person, and we had a special teacher that taught music and painting and drawing and things like that, and we put on what they call an operetta, or Cinderella, and at the Winterset Theater, and we trained and then put that play on.
How old were you?
I was an angel.
How old were you when you put on this little operetta?
Huh?
How old were you?
Well, I expect I was around 12 years old, something like that. Because then when I went into high school, then I went back over to upstairs in the South Ward School. They had, there was medieval modern history and algebra. Let me see. And English, of course, English, and physiology. We studied physiology. And it was, we had lots of good teachers in that school.
Was it hard? Was the classes hard?
Mm-mm.
No.
They were all...
And let's see the chicken.
What did you want them?
Son should have been the chicken.
Another question. Where were you born? Were you born here in Winterset?
Huh?
Were you born here in Winterset?
Yeah, I was born down in the east end of town, down the, I can take you to the house, but I don't...
in the house? Were you...
My grandfather Miller owned the house where I was born, and they owned the house that Dad was born. My dad was born in down I was born on Saturday afternoon, late, 3rd September, 1905.
Were there very many doctors back then? I mean, were there like a lot
The
of...
doctor that was with Mom and me was the one that brought the Duke. You know what I mean?
John Wayne.
Morrison, or Rex Morrison. His doctor was a Miss Smith, and my mother's doctor was Miss Smith. I think they swapped. I think they took my brother up to him.
So did you know John Wayne then? If you grew up in town with him?
My folks knew him. Mm-hmm.
So how is he about your age? Well, I don't know how old John Wayne was.
Yeah, he was just be my age, I imagine. He had been in his 80s now.
So did you go to school with them?
No.
No.
When he was just a little boy, about 5 years old or something like that, they moved to Earlham. His dad was a druggist, and he worked in Winterset. He lived in Winterset and worked in Winterset. And then when they went away, well, of course, they got tangled up in this movie thing, but I went down there and was looking at that when they first opened the place that honored him, and it told that Miss Smith was their family doctor. So I still think they got it.
So Mrs. Smith delivered you?
Yeah, Miss Smith is the one that delivered Rex Morrison. I guess that's what they called him.
Is this his real name, Rex Morrison?
Yeah, his name was Morrison. He changed his name when he went in the movies.
That's interesting.
When did you start a job of some sort? Did you ever, was it like what your age?
I took a stenographer's course, so a commercial, what they call a commercial course. We had typing and English, law, and then bookkeeping, all kinds of bookkeeping.
Mm-hmm.
And after I graduated, I went to work for one of the Hamilton's attorney. Hamilton is up over the Ford Garage in Winterset. I worked there just about a month, or maybe 2 months. I got $30 a month.
How old were you?
Yeah, how old were you? How old were you when you were working?
Oh, I expect I was 17 then.
were there a lot of people working about 17 or what?
Oh, yeah, well, there's quite a lot of them kids that got right through school, that went through their commercial course, got jobs and worked. The only thing we missed out on was because if we had a commercial course, we wasn't, always kind of considered down the ladder, on the bottom of the ladder. And the kids that took courses that allowed them to go into high school, well, maybe go into college, well, they did. But then, when we made, have you ever seen their boomerang? Book that they make at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
I did most of the drawing in that book.
So you were one of the best drawers in classes?
Yeah, well, I just got drawn into it.
Your great grandson's a pretty good drawer.
No, I'm not.
Yes, he is.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead, Susan. Did you want me to?
What was it like in the Roaring 20s? What was it like in the Roaring 20s?
They talk about all the prohibition.
Well, human beings is not the same as they are today. Some of them was always into trouble, and they was having, our classes would have a football game, and they'd have with some other town around here, and when they went to go home, well, their tires was, the air was let out of their tires, and their ignition was pulled off, and we had quite a time. Some people had quite a time. I never got in on any of that. For some reason.
What were the cars like back then?
Well, we were overdressed, I'd say. The boys wore just pantsuits. Some of them wore overalls, but the girls didn't wear pants at school. Overalls and things at school. At school, we wore dresses, and I don't know. I think I didn't go with any of the town kids. When I was in high school, I made friends with some of the country girls, and once in a while I'd go home with them to stay over the weekend. They'd stay at weekend at our place. But I think kids are just about the same as they are now. There was some kids was always into trouble, and some of them was brilliant, and some of them went on and really made something of themselves. And
Thank you.
they're just nice people. But then,
When did your parents get their first car?
they got a Ford car that had glass curtains on it that you put when it rained, and have to get out and put those curtains on the side. And in the wintertime you left them on so that the cold weather, and there wasn't any place any colder than the back seat of that thing. It was a mess.
How old were you when you got your first car?
Yeah.
How old were you when you got your first car?
Oh gosh, I didn't have a car.
No, I mean
What
your
was your
parents.
family going?
Hmm?
When did your family get their first car?
Yeah, how old were you?
Let me see. About the year I graduated, I think. Maybe a year or so before then. It was a Ford, what they called a Ford touring car, and I think it cost around $500, something like that.
Oh, I wish I could get a car
Yeah,
for $500 now.
But it was built high, and so that all the roads was muddy. We didn't have any surface roads at that time. All the roads was muddy, and sometimes you'd get stuck in your own driveway.
My friends have driveways like that now, though.
Or when I was going to be married, well, we bought some, a table and a trunk and some things like that at Peru. It's a little town down there, south here. And the neighbor man had a pickup, a Ford pickup, and he told me, he said, well, you can drive the pickup, and because my dad didn't want me to drive. But he said, if I drive that pickup, well, he'd go take me out, we can go down and get the trunk and the stuff. And just as I came off the road that came out of Winterset was on the other side of the river. You know, you come down that there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's over there on this side. Well, that time, the road was back of that river. And where that house is, there was a great big bridge there that come in and went back this way, and then come on this road the two kids come on, I suppose. So we started out like that, and it was muddy. And this man was a neighbor of ours, and he was sitting on the side beam, and he was giving me instructions what to do. So we come off the bridge, and there was just great big ruts all in that road that came back over east. Just great big ruts in it. And I said to him, I said, well, which one shall I take? And he says, it didn't make much difference. And so he says, just give it the gas and let's get it through there. And I did. And that car hit that muddy road and went over the ditch. And I says, now what do we do? Oh, he said, don't worry, the car ain't hurting neither you, so what makes a difference? So he cranked the car up, it killed the car, and he cranked it up, and we had a thing in front to crank it up. He cranked it up, and we got through that mud hole. And I said, gee, if my dad had had that, he'd do. Yeah, I never forgot.
What were the movies like?
The movies?
Yeah.
Oh, most of the movies we had was either love stories or westerns.
Boring.
Chasing Indians and all that mess of stuff. And we could go, sometimes they had matinees and Saturday afternoon. And on matinee, well, they'd have a picture that they'd show part of it, and then it'd come next Saturday afternoon, you had to come see the rest of it.
They had the newsreels in front there. Did they have the news and before you watched the movie back then?
I don't know.
They did on some of them.
Yeah, they talk about
They had a piano. Most of the picture shows, they had a person that played the piano down between showings. But they'd show a while, and then they'd have an intersection, I guess what you call it, I don't know what it is. And but sometimes the music was pretty good. They like if the horses was running fast, and they were running fast, and then they had big rolls, and it was. We rented the movies quite a bit. Mom and I. Dad never did. He didn't care much about it, but Mom took me to the movie when I was just a little girl, like Amanda, and they took a baby and hid it in what they call a flower chest. When the pioneers came, they built them a chest generally out of hardwood or walnut or something like that. I've got one out in the shed, and they were about this big, about this wide, about that tall, and they had the flour. They'd go to the mill and get their corn cobs and their corn ground and their wheat ground, and they had two sections in it. They had a section here for one and a section for the other one. And at this movie, they stole a baby and hid it in that flour chest.